Hello Algebra 2 students. This review video is going to be over section 3.2, which is how to do quadratic regressions and then make predictions using those equations. So for our example, first we're going to look at number 15 on the review. It says to write a quadratic model. Whenever you see that word model, another word could be equation. It could also say function. So keep in mind that this word model can mean many things. It could mean to find an equation or a function. So we are looking for an equation starting with a y equals, and since they didn't give us points, we can see from the graph though and make a table of points. So the first ordered pair I see is 1, 1. The second one that I see is 2, 3. And the third one is 3, 3. So I just made a table of the points that they gave us so that we could do a regression in our calculator. Keep in mind that if they give you more points, use all of the points. You want to have a minimum of 3, but the more points you have, the better the equation will be. And so you want to make sure and use all the points that are given so you have the best equation possible. Okay, so to find the equation, you are going to put these data points into your stat. So first hit stat, and then when you get to the first screen, you will hit enter on edit, and then you will put your x's into the L1 column and your y's into the L2 column. Be sure that you carefully type your data in, because if you make an error, it will give you a completely wrong equation. So double check your numbers, make sure you put them in correctly. Once you have your numbers in, you're going to hit stat again. You're going to arrow over to the right once to calc, and then you want to arrow down to option number 5, which is quad reg. That stands for quadratic regression. And since we know this is kind of starting to look like a quadratic, that's the regression that we want to do. And you'll hit enter until an equation pops up on your screen. Once you get the equation, you're going to plug in the values for A, B, and C. So for this particular data points, we have a -1 to plug in for the A, x squared. We have a 5 to plug in for the B, and we have a -3 to plug in for the C. So that is my equation. Now to simplify it a little bit, I really don't need that -1, I just need the negative. So I could rewrite it a little bit cleaner, saying just -x squared plus 5x minus 3. So that would be your equation. This one is in standard form. If it asks for it in vertex form, be sure to arrange it by completing the square. If you need a review on how to complete the square, then refer to video of 3.1 where I'll review how to complete the square. So the second thing we need to be able to do is to be able to make predictions based on those equations. So go ahead and get the equation for this set of data. You're going to type in your weeks into L1, and you're going to type your cost into L2 using the same steps we just did before so we can get an equation. All right, after you have calculated your equation, this is what you should have gotten. A was 1. But we don't really need a 1, it's implied. That's in front of the x squared. Minus the b was -8, x plus 150. So that's what you should have gotten after you put that into your calculator. All right, this question asks us to predict the cost at week 15. So we first have to ask is, did they give us an x value or a y value? Well, since weeks is an x value here, I know that it's something that would be in this part. It's an x value. So I am going to need to find the y value. So in that case, I can plug in 15, since they gave me an x, in for both of my x's in the equation. And go ahead and type that into your calculator. You'll just type 15 squared. This is just on the regular screen, not in the y equals. Minus 8 times 15 plus 150. So go ahead and type that into your calculator. And you should get 255. So At week 15, we're estimating the cost to be $255. Another way that you could do it is, since it's only at week 15, you could also put this equation into your y equals of your calculator and then go to the table. We know that in the x column will be the 15. Whatever's across from it is going to be your answer. So if you did that, you should also get 255. So that's two ways of solving the problem. Sometimes I don't like to rely on the table because if it's like 1,000, you're going to have to know how to either skip around the table or scroll down forever, which is going to take too long. So sometimes you just have to decide what's the best route to getting at this problem. Now for the y's, it's definitely easier to go ahead and figure out what the y value is you're trying to find and then find it in the table. So good luck on making predictions.